Open your cerebral cortex and shift your lobes into upper beta phase, because you are going to have Bitcoin knowledge transmitted directly into your vestibulocochlear. Your host of Bitcoin Knowledge is Trace Mayer, an early Bitcoin advocate since it cost $0.25, but this is not intended to be investment advice. A doctor of jurisprudence, but this is definitely not legal advice. And an investor in core cryptocurrency infrastructure, including Armory, BitPay, Kraken, and Mitagio, but this is not a recommendation of those services. Here, you get fed via direct mind download with pure and free Bitcoin knowledge.
Welcome back. We got an exciting interview with Anthony Iorio from Toronto, Bitcoin Alliance of Canada, CryptoKit, Rush Wallet, Ethereum, what I forget? Decentral. Oh, I forgot the biggest thing of all. Decentral, Decentral.tv, where we got video content, Decentral Talk Live. Just a major pioneer in Bitcoin and this whole decentralized space. Welcome to the podcast, Anthony.
Thanks for having me, Trace.
So how did you get drugged down this multi-dimensional rabbit hole?
It started maybe about 4 or 5 years ago when my brother decided to kind of go off the grid. He started really looking into what money was and started looking into taxes and basically looking to see about, he didn't want to have a license anymore, didn't want to have a social security, basically sent it back to the government saying, you know what, I don't want this. I don't need what you guys are pushing here. And a lot of it had to do with learning about the debt-based society that we're involved with.
Our debt-based monetary system.
Exactly. So I started really looking into what he was doing. He was really going hardcore in it, and you can't really operate when you go that hardcore into it. But I started really learning what he was talking about and started to learn what really money was about. And that's how I got into it. Previously, I was involved in geothermal drilling. So I was involved with my family business for quite a while, and then when my dad retired, I had the opportunity to get into anything I really wanted to. And I started looking at different technology advancements, and I wanted to do something that really was a green technology, something emerging. So I got into geothermal drilling, which is basically drilling hundreds of feet into the ground to heat and cool buildings. So you take the Earth's temperature and you put it up to a heat exchanger. So you're drilling hundreds of feet. We were doing major commercial projects for IKEA. And you're using the Earth's temperature to heat and cool the interiors of buildings. In the winter, you flip the system so that it takes the heat from the ground, pushes it into the building, and it's putting the cool from the buildings back into the ground. So I did that for a while, and I started learning about money and the debt-based economy that we live with. Got into gold and silver for a while, started listening to Peter Schiff quite a bit, and then I heard about Bitcoin. And I heard about it on Free Talk Live, which is a syndicated radio show in the States that's, huge Bitcoin fans, and a lot of the major people in the industry, I think, including, Roger Bear, Charlie Shrem, heard about Bitcoin on Free Talk Live.
Yeah, I did an interview with them years ago. So
yeah, with Ian and Mark, they actually got into it because of Gavin approached them way back in the day.
Oh, interesting.
And got them involved with it. He took them out for lunch, said, guys, this is where this is going here. You got to get into it. And they were skeptical at first, like a lot of people are. That's how they got into it. And then through their radio show, which is on like 160 radio stations now, a lot of other people started hearing about Bitcoin. So I first heard about it in the summer of 2012, and I was hooked right away. There was not that period of time where I was like, nah, this is bullshit. So about a month later, I started the Toronto Bitcoin Meetup Group. I did a pretty sizable investment when it was around $10. Started the Bitcoin Alliance of Canada soon after, which is a national nonprofit organization in Canada. My first foray was into Bitcoin gambling space. I had a site called Satoshi Circle. Me and my partner developed that, and then when I became the executive director of the Bitcoin Alliance, I decided to sell it, did very well with that project, and then was able to fund multiple things going forward. So for a few months, I was the executive director, and that's all I was focusing on was a volunteer position to try to boost up Bitcoin in Canada. And then opportunities just started coming out of nowhere. In late last year, I was given the white paper by Vitalik Buterin for Ethereum, and I was probably one of the first people that he gave it to. We then started assembling the team of the initial founders for Ethereum. From January till the end of our crowd sale of Ether, that's what I was focusing on. Just prior to that, my ex-partner from Satoshi Circle came up with the concept for a Chrome extension Bitcoin wallet, and that ended up being CryptoKit.
I like CryptoKit because you get a BitPay invoice, and one click, bam, it is paid.
You can do it, yeah.
there's not a slicker way to pay
It's
your
good, but right now, I mean, we've only dedicated 3 months of actual time to CryptoKit and Rush Wallet. That's all we've been able to push into it. So it's the easiest wallet to set up because it removes any login credentials. You move your mouse around, you got a wallet. Same with Rush Wallet. Removing passwords, logins, that's what we want to do, is we want to remove the friction most people have to deal with when logging into sites or doing it. So CryptoKit's great. It's only available on Chrome right now, which is a downside. We haven't really had the time to be able to put it into the apps, but that is coming very soon. The apps we're working on a hardware wallet as well. But a lot of my time is focused on Decentral. Decentral is a 5,000 square foot building in the heart of downtown Toronto. That came about when we were doing our weekly meetups at a bar, and it just became so difficult to do presentations. Because I'm like, we got to find a space. I got to get a space. So the location came up. We took it, and it's now a co-working space for all types of Bitcoin businesses and decentralized technology businesses. We do the weekly Wednesday Bitcoin meetups there. It's headquarters for the Alliance. We have some exchanges running out of there, and we have the first Bitcoin ATM in Toronto. So there's like 8 in Toronto now, but we had the first one, Bit Access machine. It's actually the first ever Bit Access machine.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, they approached me earlier this year, said, hey, we're working on a machine. Do you want to be the first person to have one and work with us to do it? So great guys to work with. So we've got the machine there, and we just set up Decentral TV. And we launched it last week, and Decentral TV is a dashboard for everything decentralized. It's got customizable exchanges and currencies for Bitcoin. It's got a Twitter feed of really prominent tweeters. I think you're on there. It's got headline news. It's got graphs and charts. It's got the top 15 altcoin information on a scrolling bar at the bottom. But the main thing is the video content. We feel that there's really a lack of quality video content in the space. So our flagship show of the station is called Decentral Talk Live, and it's a daily video podcast show. 5 days a week. We've got 10 different co-hosts. So myself and Ethan, who runs Decentral for me, are the 2 main hosts. And then we have a third chair that we're rotating in all the people from Decentral. Accountants, lawyers, security people.
Is this Ethan from the Ed and Ethan show?
No, different Ethan.
Oh, okay.
Those are great guys. I think they've stopped doing their show.
Because they're from Canada.
They are. And actually, we got a little bit of a story. Is that me and you were on the very first episode of
their show, yeah.
On the radio in the States. The first ever
major
Bitcoin-focused show on the States.
Yeah, because I remember, I think you went first. And
I went first, you went second, and that was the first
yeah.
ever Bitcoin show on a radio station in the States. So we have that.
Like way back in the day.
That wasn't that long ago. That was this year.
No, it wasn't this
year. Yes, it was. I was at Decentral. I remember recording it on a Wednesday night after my meetup. It was at 10 o'clock that I had to do it, and it was definitely this year. Yeah. So, unfortunately, I don't think they're doing their show anymore, but... So Decentral TV is a dashboard, and the flagship show is Decentral Talk Live. So our first show is going to be with Patrick Merck. We've already done the first 15 episodes. So Patrick Merck will be the first one. We're going to be showing that on Monday. And then we have a 5-part series on the ATM manufacturer. So we've got Robocoin, we have Lamasu, we've got Bit Access, BitX, and we're still trying to get Skyhook. And then we're going into the wallet series. So we've already done Mycelium. We're going to be doing all the different wallet companies.
Armory. Better do Armory.
We'll do Armory. And we want to do international series, talking with the prominent community builders in all the different countries and see what's going on in each and every.
You get video from Adolfo down here while we're in.
We don't do it. We do it from our studio at Decentral.
Oh, okay.
It's a call-in Skype call. So there's 3 hosts, and then the whole show would be about the person that's on the show, and it's a video show. So we're going to do a international series. We'll probably take the top 20 countries and just find the people that are prominent there and see what's actually going on in the country. And then we'll do exchanges. We'll do mining companies. There's really a lack of
good quality video coverage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then we're going to partner up with a lot of different other people doing podcasts, because on Decentral TV, the ultimate goal is to have 6 hours of original content per day.
Oh, wow.
And we want it to be the one-stop shop that people just want to go get all their information, because we...
Yeah, become like the Bloomberg, but for Bitcoin.
That's exactly what we're trying to do. And the headline news, we curate it from all the different news sources. So, you can go to CoinDesk and see the articles, but at our place, you have the headlines from all the major headlines from all the different sources.
Yeah.
So you see the headline, you like it, you click it, you then are taken to the site to do it.
Yeah, so instead of like the Reddit being the hub, this might kind of become more of a hub.
Reddit, I'm just not digging anymore. Bitcoin talk forums, I stopped. It's just so much. There's so much.
I mean,
what are your thoughts on it? Like, what?
Both the U.S. and the European Union pay people to go out and spread disinformation. Part of their propaganda campaign. I mean, this is publicly available that they do this. And so you can really see the government-paid trolls are just out in force
and
in the comments and Reddit and
but
things
the anonymity
like that.
behind those and allows people to do it, that's the problem. Like, I'm a huge Zapchain fan now. I don't know if you... Zapchain.
No, I haven't
Are you
heard
familiar
of
with Quora?
Yeah.
Zapchain is like Quora for Bitcoin.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes, it's amazing. You sign up through your Twitter feed or your Facebook, so you actually have an identity behind it.
Yeah.
And you post questions and you answer questions. And you then become an influencer. The better answers you're putting up and the questions you put up, the more...
Yeah, kind of like Amazon reviews.
Very similar to that. And then you actually have a top 10 influencers, and you can't hide behind the anonymity. So you have amazing quality content. Yeah, check it out. Zapchain is phenomenal. I think it's going to do extremely well. So I'm not really digging Reddit or Bitcoin Talk anymore. There's too much garbage on there.
There's too much of this disinformation that's getting paid for by who knows who, right?
Well,
who has the time to come and
it could be government. It could be other companies that are trying.
Like, how
simple is it to bash other companies?
Trolls, yeah.
Right? So there's got to be better ways, and I think tying it to actual identities is kind of good. You still
influencers or people who have the influence online, you could say.
That's right.
Speaking of decentralization and things like that, not to ambush you, we talked about a lot of stuff we were going to mention here, but I've been a big fan of MadeSafe.
Mm-hmm.
And over the last 3-4 weeks, it's gone from about 2.1 cents, which was its original IPO price like a year ago, to up to like 4.8 cents. What's your thought on MadeSafe?
I have a very difficult time following a lot of the other things. There's just too much going on for me. I'm not a big fan of altcoins, and I don't consider Ethereum an altcoin. Ethereum's a platform where altcoins and other applications are going to be built on top of. But honestly, I haven't followed the MadeSafe thing too closely. I know initially they had some issues when they were tying it into Mastercoin. I didn't like the way that whole thing went down initially.
I didn't really like that at all either.
And we saw that coming, and we had warned the Mastercoin guys, so I wasn't too keen on that. But I just don't have the time to follow a lot of the other things.
I mean, they've gotten the second test network out. They're fixing bugs on it. They're going to run the third test network here pretty soon. Then the beta version goes live. I'm getting optimistic about it.
You're invested in MadeSafe?
May or may not. MadeSafe coins. But
I may or may not have some Ether.
I may or may not have some Bitcoin. I'm not going to say I have any Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But it's actually darn near impossible to buy any of these MadeSafe
Is there?
coins. Oh,
yeah,
they're not traded on any major exchange. It's the 6th largest coin by market cap, and it just seems that they're actually getting stuff done. I'm cautiously optimistic about it.
That's good to hear. I haven't heard too much. I can only hear what basically other people are telling me about MadeSafe, because I haven't been following. And it's difficult to follow that stuff. Again, Reddit, you can't see what's going on the other platforms. They keep it right to Bitcoin. So where are you really going to get your information on that?
Well, there's a MadeSafe subreddit, but it's not really posted to all that much. MadeSafe just has such a huge vision in terms of decentralizing everything.
You mean a similar vision to Ethereum?
I think it's totally different.
In what sense?
They want to abstract away the server component of the internet.
That's exactly what we're doing with Ethereum, though.
Yeah, but
exactly what we're doing. It's about coming up with a completely decentralizing the internet. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, well, but they're also like 8 years down the road on the whole project. They got like a whole bunch of defensive patents. They have a patent to log into a decentralized distributed network. Mm-hmm. So you use self-encryption and then a distributed hash table, and that's how you encrypt a lot of the content that goes on there. I'm not sure how they're going to end up doing computation within this space, but I'm just cautiously optimistic with it. And the wish list of apps to be built on MadeSafe, I was like, man, this would be really cool. Like if they actually get all this built, because they had a thread on there over on MadeSafe.org about that, and so I'm just kind of. I'm cautiously optimistic about it.
You're a fan of MadeSafe, it seems like. Good.
I'm a fan. I think that everything that can be decentralized will be decentralized.
In the words of David Johnson.
And so, and he actually, I think, quoted me.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll have to talk to him about that.
And I think that came from like BitPay or something. I mean, it's not all that original of an idea.
Yeah.
Or at least
I think so
now.
too, but I don't think we're at the stage. Like, I don't say that. I think that it's difficult to decentralize everything right now. And we're at the time it's going to take a lot of years in order to properly do that. You can't take organizational structures right now and decentralize them. It's not efficient.
We got GitHub.
Yeah,
cooperation without coordination.
I'm talking about actual organizational structure. So, for example, with Ethereum, we had to set up our offices in Switzerland, We had people working from all over the world, had to deal with different regulations and things in many different countries. You're not going to go start implementing decentralization systems and try to revamp the whole thing when you're trying to get a product out. You got to kind of go with what's working and trend tested.
Too many chiefs in the kitchen?
Yeah, well, you get your product out, and then you work over a number of years in order to try to come up with these new decentralization strategies. So I believe there's a balance needed in decentralization right now. With Decentral, I'm trademarking the name around the world right now, and I have some people that are critical of how I'm doing it. It's like, well, how can you're decentralized, how are you going to go and do that, and you want to have it the way that you want to brand it? Because I'm a business, and I'm here to make money in this, and I'm going to go towards a more decentralized model down the road, but right now the tools just aren't there to start off, and you have to deal with a lot of regulations, and you have a lot of people who just don't want to register companies, and you can't operate in that. At least I can't operate in that way as of yet.
Environment. Yeah, well, I mean, we have our legal code. We have lots of different legal code, all these different countries. It's the way that we organize the factors of production and the way we organize labor, because like that's how everything's been built. So to really go against that grain, we're going against thousands of years of accumulated human experience and history. Like, there's a reason that we organize this way, because it works.
That's exactly
like,
it.
Look at the publicly traded companies. Look at their net incomes and balance sheets. It works. Like, Microsoft has a lot of net income. But is there a better way to organize? That's what I'm excited
there could be.
about.
No, there could be and there will be, but we're just at the very, very beginning stages of it.
Not to draw too much of an analogy from Star Trek, but we have individuality in Star Trek, and then we have the Borg, right?
The collective.
You will be assimilated. Resistance is futile.
Yeah.
You got the collective. But in Star Trek Voyager, they actually come across a bunch of Borg who are still linked with the neural network, but they retain their individuality.
Okay.
And they actually become far superior to the regular Borg because they have.
But that
the
seems to be the balance that I'm talking about. You can't go one or the other. You have to somewhere in the middle is what.
Well, and that's what we're getting to. We got GitHub, right, which enables this cooperation without coordination. We've got whole different tools now in the information age to organize society and bring our mind to bear on particular problems and solutions. And
we
things
do,
like that.
however,
it's very exciting.
But efficiency is. I always look at efficiency. To me, the most efficient way to operate.
The Borg love to be efficient.
The way that you can be the most efficient is by me being able to communicate with you one-on-one. To be in the same spaces, in the same time frame of workday, is a much more effective system than to be having someone across in Australia that you're trying to work with.
Right.
Where they're working when you're sleeping, and you're trying to rely on communication paths that just aren't as effective of having a company working in one facility.
Yeah, because like BitPay, I mean, we've got Atlanta, Georgia, where we have the majority of the company, but then we have satellite offices in New York, Buenos Aires, the Netherlands, San Francisco.
And I bet you there's a much more efficiency level at your offices within the people there that are working together. And if you have
even when we got the office in Buenos Aires, we didn't start hiring in Buenos Aires till we could hire enough of a critical mass to have an office there. So we got 5 or 10 people down in Buenos Aires now, and there's an office, there's camaraderie, like there's ways to bounce ideas off each other and really get work done. And they're the ones who turned out Copay and some of our other really helpful
Copay
work.
was phenomenal.
Yeah.
It is phenomenal. Like, if we had actually had that with Ethereum previously, we could have done our sale with that. We had to come up with some crazy multi-$1,000 system in order to hold our funds, but Copay's phenomenal.
And interestingly, Alan Reiner from Armory provided a lot of the technical guidance on getting the Copay actually implemented.
Yep.
The real heavy lifting. It is fascinating how we can have this decentralized currency, we have centralized organizations, but they still cooperate to get decentralized tools produced.
Well, we're still such an early stage that everybody's got to work together, because anytime you're working together, you're bumping up Bitcoin and the technology, but it will come down the road, I think, where there'll be much more competition. But for right now, everybody's got to kind of just pull together and get this out, because the more cooperation you do, the faster you'll move the tech, and the faster that, this will get pushed to the public, to the the mass adoption is going to occur.
I really wish a lot more people kind of understood that. If you have a bunch of logs in one place, you're going to have a hot fire. But you start taking the logs out of there, and you're going to lose that fire, and then pretty soon you're not going to have any
fire. But there
fire.
is a lot of cooperation. I've been helping out with Mastercoin doing their new Omni wallet. So the guy that designed...
Omni wallet's great, isn't it? Offline signing for Mastercoin transactions with Armory.
That's right.
It's really cool.
And that's one of the employees from CryptoKit, one of my buddies that I hooked him up with, Craig from Mastercoin, and he's now doing the wallet design. It is a community here. We need to work together to get this out. There's no need for, in my opinion, for competitive interest right now. But I bet you it's going to come down the road.
Yeah, well, we're already seeing it, but where we see this centralizing competitive interest, like, for example, Coinbase or blockchain, and building on top of the Coinbase API or the blockchain API, I did see a thread on Reddit, a developer, they'd built on top of, I forget if it was Coinbase or blockchain's API, but the servers went down or something, and it totally disrupted their merchant process for this developer that had built out a whole bunch of stuff, just completely screwed him. And he was flipping upset. 10 paragraphs of complaining about this stuff. And I was like, why didn't you just build on top of Insight? BitPay put out Insight. It's a decentralized tool. You wouldn't be relying on a particular centralized entity to access the blockchain.
That's something we should probably look
really
for with CryptoKit, because we're using blockchain right now. And you know what? It's been good, but something like Insight would probably...
but it's still centralized.
Yeah, right. I agree. You want to have redundancy, and you want to have...
Which means you're relying on something between you and the blockchain when you might as well just interact with the blockchain itself. But someone had to build Insight before, blockchain.info's API was out there before Insight was. So, that's probably why you build on blockchain.
Yeah, there was nothing really like it at the time, and that's why we're using it. But now Insight, CoPay, great projects that BitPay is putting
I think it's a great idea for BitPay and all these other companies. Let's build open source tools that everybody can build on top of, so we aren't wasting R&D.
Well, what it seems to me is their core project is BitPay, and now they're providing the tools that's going to help grow the community and help use it, which is going to affect them and benefit their core project.
This is really exciting where we're seeing all this decentralization going. What would you say you're most excited about in this whole space?
I'm excited about probably Ethereum is probably the most exciting to me, because it's going to be a complete platform that people can build anything they want on top of. It's not about adding features to a project. It's a platform, a very low-level platform, a scripting language that you can now build any coin you want in a few lines of code. You can build any type of decentralized application. It's going to be its own web browser. It's going to have decentralized DNS. It's basically going to be the Web 3.0. It will be completely decentralized in the web. So, I know more about Ethereum. You know more about MadeSafe, very similar things, but that's why I'm really excited about Ethereum. I'm excited about the people behind it. I think Vitalik is a genius. Known him for a very long time, trust in what he's doing. With the 30,000 Bitcoins that we raised, it looks like the community thought that what's going on. The amount of development that's going on right now, that's where I'm most excited. Because once that platform is now, the developers have tools that they can work with to build this, because you can't build it on Bitcoin. The blockchain just can't support it.
Right. Well, not really made to do that.
No, it's not made for it. It's a payment system. It's great, but this is what we're developing is just a base that you can build whatever you want on top of it.
And it can't happen too quickly.
No.
Look at all these data breaches at Home Depot and P.F. Chang's. Just all the problems we've got from centralized services. It's just a nightmare.
And this will be it'll be a one-stop shop. You'll have your reputation system. You'll have your decentralized contact lists there. It's going to be people using Google Chrome right now, but it's going to be the Ethereum browser, and it's going to have everything you need for decentralization all built into one spot. That's going to have amazing developer tools for people to build on top of it.
That's so cool. Thanks for being with us, Anthony Iorio from CryptoKit, Rush Wallet, Ethereum, Decentral, Decentral.tv. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks a lot, Trace.
Be sure to get a copy of the free Bitcoin Guide at freebitcoinguide.com. Got a question or suggestion? Record your voice at bitcoin.kn. Don't be shy. To help the show, share bitcoin.kn with friends, post about it on Reddit, and otherwise spam the interwebs. Your iTunes comments and 5-star reviews are very important to us. Please continue tuning in to the Bitcoin Knowledge Podcast, where we release interviews with the top people in the Bitcoin world. Now take some choline and let that Bitcoin knowledge consolidate.